Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to The Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. 3 Hues Painting Studio. Come paint, sip, and party at 3 Hues. Visit our website today at 3hueshouston.com.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Docs on the Sphere TV. I am Dr. Ashandra Batiste. I am a dentist, so you can find me at my dental office, of course, Elite Dental Wellness, which is located at the corner of Fondren and Westheimer. If you just want to follow me and see me talk a little trash on Facebook and Instagram, that's at hotdoc.com, which is my Facebook, and Instagram, and at hotdoc.com is my Instagram, and Facebook and Twitter and all other platforms is Ashandra Batiste. So welcome back to the show. Thank you guys for watching Facebook Live, of course. And I rocked a little bit of my nerdy glasses today. These actually work. These actually work. Like if I take them off, these are not a fashion statement. Yeah, these are because I can't see. So we actually, of course, have Simone back in the building.
Hey guys, how are you? So of course. I can be found, of course, on Facebook at Simone Ellis, Instagram on Dr. Simone Ellis, and all my social handles, Dr. Simone Ellis, and also, of course, The Ambitious Dentist. So that's something new that I've been able to kind of do, and check me out there. Of course, I'm also a dentist as well, but that does not mean that we're not educated on healthcare and things like that. We're not fake dentists. We're not fake doctors, people. We're real doctors, real people. So if you want to find out about my dental practice, you can check me out at www.sdshouston.com. Practice is in Missouri City, Texas. Smile Design Studios, here to change the world one tooth at a time. So super excited to have actually our producer and the creator of this amazing network, which you guys got to check out, Garry.
What's up?
What's going on?
Nothing much. I'm happy to be here. What's up, everyone out there, Facebook Live world? If you're sitting on your couch watching us right now on Apple TV, you're cruising in your car and you're listening to this via SoundCloud and Bluetooth, I want to say welcome to Docs. I'm just a guest host here, so I'm happy to be in the building today.
Tell?
Yeah,
you were like,
can
you guys tell he's our producer?
Like this is what we do. This is what we do here. But of course, you can reach me anywhere online: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at G Hawkins. That's G Hawkins with a Z. And once again, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform.
Absolutely.
Because obviously y'all are talking about things that affect each and every citizen of this country, if not the world, and the things that are happening to their body internally and externally. So this conversation is always important. It's always needed, and we're happy to have it.
Well, I'm just happy that you're here because we are talking about something today that Garry has actually already made a life choice about, and it's kind of been something that I've been dealing with myself. And people who know me know that the idea of me not eating meat is actually
criminal,
a virtual impossibility. They would
She
think
said criminal.
Yeah,
It's
well,
criminal.
they think that I have been body snatched. Like they'd be like, "What
Talk
do you
about
mean?
it.
What do you mean?
Speak on it.
Ashandra's not eating meat or animal products." Like, so I think that it's been a lot of talk about it, and you've made a life decision, and
we're still
praying.
working on
Praying.
Y'all just know, like, we need Jesus is not done with me yet as I eat this cocaine.
Work in progress. Let him use you. Let him use you.
and it's not a vegan cupcake.
It's not vegan at all. If anything, it's opposite of all of those things.
You're like, add more butter.
But I did have, add more
eggs.
sugar.
Sure.
But if you guys checked out our last week episode or the week before, we talked about obesity, and Ashandra would not stop jamming down people's throat about what the health. And I have attempted to watch this show, I think, 4 times, guys. 4 times. And so we're going to talk about that today. I've tried.
Makes you sad.
I think
it makes me
I think
sad.
She
I throw out.
And then she just falls asleep.
And I shut down. It's overwhelming.
She backs away. It's over.
Like, what?
Show over.
I can't eat that either. I just
TV goes off. Stuff just happens.
Over this.
And her body just shuts down and she
my
falls
body
asleep.
is like, no, we are going to be addicted to sugar, cholesterol, and fat.
It takes over.
It takes over, and it's time to go to bed. So I'm super excited because I think that this is going to be a good show for me to learn from my awesome colleagues here that are doing amazing things with their health. So I'm excited. Let's talk about.
Let me say this. I think that one of the biggest things that people, when we talk about veganism, it's a lot of celebrities that have come out and said that they're vegan, right? And the first thing I thought of was, oh my God, isn't Beyonce vegan? Like,
and if Beyonce does it, then that means that everybody should do it, right?
Beyonce liked the Breakfast Club way too much.
She does, and I have.
Vegan.
Funny story. I actually, on one of my Facebook pages, if you guys go back and look, I saw Beyonce getting out. It was like pure heaven. She walked out of the Breakfast Club with the fan. Like, it was still like a fan was still blowing.
The hair in the wind. Yeah.
She had no greasy looking lips. She just looked as if she had just got on stage, but it was in the Breakfast Club. You're right.
So I think so. Come to find out, there's a lot of celebrities out there that have said that they've been vegan or that they've gone through some sort of vegan, like 22-day fast. Okay. And so she's one of them. And Jay-Z spoke about it with like Glamour Mag or somebody told, or Vogue, somebody said that he was doing it with, they were doing it together, but they've never said that they are like vegan now. Like they made a choice and all this. And then of course, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, there's no African-American celebrities jumping to do this.
Right. I don't think even culturally, like, that's something that's really difficult, I think, for us, because I have yet to meet a whole lot of vegans that are just like a part of our culture. And when you start off with being a child and you're introduced to meat probably like as soon as you come out the womb, that's going to be really hard. But you said that you, Gary, actually kind of started that whole vegan process, right?
Yeah, something similar. And to co-side with what you just said, right? It's amazing how our environment dictates a lot of the things that we do. I know my choices with my family, my mom, my father, fried chicken was a staple. Steaks were a staple. Barbecue was a staple on a consistent basis. Like, I would come home from school and I knew where my house was because there was barbecue smoke in the air. Like each and every day. Like, that's what it was.
Right. Sunday was going to be fried chicken Sundays, like right after church.
Exactly.
Right.
Like that's what it was. So I grew up with that lifestyle of being a carnivore. Like, that's just what it was. I would have meat with sides of meat. Like, I wouldn't have other sides. It would just be meat, a full meat plate.
That's my husband today. So
picnics for me too. Like, I'm like at the barbecue, I don't want the sides. I want 5 ribs, a chicken, some sausage, and I don't even have to have
sausage,
anything. Right. And I don't even
barbecue
have to have
sauce. That's my side. Barbecue sauce.
None.
But
no beans, no greens. Like, I want the meat.
It was crazy. But back in 2015, I watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives. And then I read a book called Food Over Medicine by Pam Popper. And the conversation was so in depth regarding taking certain products out of your diet, and you would see a difference, not just in your lifestyle, but your overall health and different things that constituted having a great life in whole. So I said, you know what, let me do these things. So I said I would do it for a month. 2015, why not? Just 1 month, January. 1 month turned into 2 months. Took the food and moved off my meat. I said I couldn't do it holistically and just stop at, completely. But I said I could take that food, move those meat products to a Sunday. That way I would, only eat so much and I could still enjoy meat to some degree. Moved it to Sunday, and that lasted for all of 2015, moving into 2016. Now here we are in 2017.
Wow.
Still in that same process of saying, you know what? Meat on the weekends. Okay. Right? And that's what it is.
So you didn't remove all the animal products. So you still do butter and dairy and those sort of things, but just actual meat.
Still ate eggs.
What about fish?
So I kept fish on Sunday only, right? Still on the weekend.
Wow.
So I literally anything that was alive outside of plants, I moved to Sundays. And then I said 2015. I meant I read the book and I watched the documentary late 2015 and I started in 2016.
Okay.
Wow.
So I finished that whole year. And so now I'm into my second year doing the same thing.
So for our viewers that may not know the difference, vegan versus vegetarian, I always want to make sure we get that clear because that was a big difference that I think sometimes people don't know. Vegan is no animal products whatsoever. So that's no eggs, that's no milk, that's no
Nothing
dairy,
that comes
nothing,
from an animal.
nothing comes
Honey.
from animal,
Yep.
nothing. Everything is straight up animal plant based.
Right.
Where
And
vegetarians they can eat those plant based as well as animal producing things. They just don't eat meat. And then pescatarian, which is what we were just talking about, are people that can eat fish. So
Right.
let me ask you a question. Did you notice a difference in your? I feel like if I stop eating meat, I'm gonna go through like some sort of crack withdrawal. Like I feel like I'm gonna start shaking and convulsing. Like it's gonna be a problem. Did you notice any?
Well,
big
so
withdrawal?
let me tell you, my big notice, the big tell for me was my body. One, more energetic. My mornings were so much easier. My nights, I slept so much better. So I got
Really?
all the benefits of taking meat out and moving to a more herbivore style. Now, since I threw carnivore out there, I'm going to throw herbivore out there.
Right,
for those that are
for the
watching
big
this.
words.
For the big words. We're going to hit you from a wordsmith perspective. But I noticed my body feeling better in all those different aspects. Then what I also noticed is that when I tried to incorporate meat back into my diet, so on a Sunday I decided, hey, let's have a steak. I remember being at Del Frisco's, a great steakhouse here in Houston, Texas. Make sure to check it out. They
For
need
the
to run us some
fancy
coins.
people.
But anyway,
It's
had a-
delicious.
it's delicious. But had a steak that night, sick as a dog.
Really?
Hours. And I literally had to move down to a smaller portion. And eventually, I just could not eat steak anymore for a very long time. That's how my body responded.
See, I don't want to give it up because I grew up from a family where meat was really, really popular. But steaks for us was like a celebratory thing.
Delicatessen,
Right,
yeah.
right. So New Year's Day, we got a steak. And I grew up in Kansas. So, of course, barbecuing ribs are a thing. So that's where the battle has been for me. And I know, Chandra, you just said that you are trying this vegetarian lifestyle too for these last 2 weeks.
I am, and I will definitely, speak more on it. However, for those of us who want to go to Del Frisco's, we may need to talk with Houston Housewives of Finance to get our money.
Look
in
at that
order.
transition.
Wait, she kills it. She kills it every time.
So this portion of the show is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33%, or more than 77 million of Americans, don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask us how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services.
I think the way she segued that in was because of her new glasses.
Perhaps.
Because
Perhaps.
Clearly.
she's so
Clearly.
smart.
Oh, pun
It makes
intended.
me smart.
Clearly.
Like that?
Clearly.
I'm
Love
smarter
'em.
today.
Love 'em.
So definitely when we're talking about these fad diets, let's go into them. I was actually on one. I actually did Jenny Craig before I got married the first time.
Oh. We're still working
all
on
good.
number
So
two.
it's number two.
It's all good.
I'm taking
So
out
it-
applications.
No,
Y'all are crazy. Wow. Auction block.
but it was a really cool one because they prepare the food for you.
Sure.
Right. So you go to the little shop. They give you like a little freezer bag, and then you put your meals in. You get snacks, and that was one of the fad diets that I was on. So for 2 months, I think I lost over like 25 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to compete also in a physical competition, and she basically really ruled out. I could eat meat, but you ate 5 times a day, but you had to work out like 3 hours a day. And so lost like 20 pounds in the first month. So those diets for me worked, but they included meat.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then you're talking about South Beach and Weight Watchers. Most of these diets include meat. All these fad diets besides the raw food diet.
Right.
That's the only one that doesn't include meat.
Okay.
But these are all kind of celebrity based and people. There's somebody out there that is a celebrity that has talked about these diets. Like
Have you guys tried any of these at all?
I've done
Yeah.
Weight Watchers.
Yeah, and I've done Atkins. I've also played around with the lemonade thing, the lemonade cleanse.
Oh,
I've
God,
done
that was
that. That was
horrible,
a craze.
right?
It was. But you know what's funny? I actually enjoyed the taste. Like I got to the point
That
that
stuff was
it
disgusting.
tasted like a spicy lemonade.
Oh,
So I
it's
turned it into a drink over
horrible.
time.
No, you turned it
But-
into like a Bloody Mary.
No,
Yes.
that's where you going with that?
Did you put vodka in
No,
it?
there was no
It
vodka, no
horrible.
But,
I tried that one day and my body was like, reject.
That is so
Like, no,
funny.
abort mission.
Yeah.
So, like, it was not a good thing at all. I could never try that lemonade diet thing
No.
again.
No, I did that one, and then I considered the paleo.
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 I considered that one because it just
I
kind of
did
made
that too,
sense for
actually,
me.
yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah, that one makes kind of like sense. However, one of my team members, we were talking about what the health, and she refuses to watch it, and she's like, because Jesus ate,
Here we go.
He did, though.
ate everything.
He did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
It was like a
Yeah.
thing. Jesus was like turning water into wine with like his steak. Like it was.
With a steak. With a steak.
It was
With a
like
steak.
lamb. Like, it
Yeah.
was,
Rack-a-lamb.
And so I told her, I was like, I agree with you. However, 2,000 years ago,
Yeah.
there wasn't pesticides in everything.
Very true.
There
Very
wasn't
true.
antibiotics in everything.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to talk about it. You're going to
Genetically
ruin my
modified.
life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and
Yeah,
you
that's right.
definitely know that it's got to be something in this meat now because the girls are coming out
Come
looking
on.
like breasts.
Talk
on,
about it. Like they from motherland. Like
at,
they from
at
Africa.
8.
Yeah.
At 8, I'm
Crazy.
like,
I have an 11-year-old daughter.
that is
I've
a
been looking
woman.
at, like-
She's a woman.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
too much.
It's the food.
Yeah, it's the food.
Yeah.
What do you, what from guys? What do you guys see? Like, do you guys get bigger body parts too?
Well,
I'm-
really? That's where we're going?
curious.
That's where we're going today?
There's a
Welcome to
probably
Docs,
be-
folks. That's where we're at
a
today.
reversal if it was a guy.
But I think it's so spot on because when we talk, we'll get into some of the things later on, like with milk and things like that. But you've got all these foods that are modified, and we talk about this over at A La Carte on our cooking show. That's right here on the Sphere for those that nice little plug
Nice
we
little
just dropped.
plug.
But it's
So
important
genius.
to watch how these foods are manufactured. And the problem is I had to use the word manufactured foods because it's not real. Food should be grown from the earth, not
Right.
manufactured. But that's the situation that we're in today.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, we are going to ask you to come check us out subscribe to our show on all of our major platforms. Gary just did a great job of plugging, but we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. We also want you guys to review the show on iTunes. We really need constructive feedback. We want to see this continue to grow, and we want to make sure that we're giving all of the information that we need to you guys in a great way, but we want to make sure we do it better. So share this on Facebook Live and the entire show with your family and friends. And of course, Gary, I just have to commend you. You've done such a great job with all of these shows, but we want you guys to donate to our mission to help bring in rich and inspiring content each and every week. So you guys can donate to www.thespirit.tv/donate. Okay, because we want to make sure that we can do a lot more. We can do a lot more with a lot more money. So guys, we're going to be signing off of Facebook Live, but please come over and check us out.
I just want to give a quick shout out to, I have a couple of my colleagues from dental school on
Hit 'em
there.
up.
So I was like, what up, Ryan? What up? I just, wait.
Yep.
Said,
Wendell,
y'all
Wendell,
wildin'
we
out.
just started, Wendell.
We just
Wendell, hit that
started.
share button, brother. We appreciate you on the share. Gina, we see you. Ashley, we see you. Kevin, what up? We see y'all.
Oh,
Hit
we're
that share
wildin'
button.
So much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate y'all. Without you guys, we couldn't really be here. We'd be talking to ourselves. So we just
Exactly.
want to say thank
But
you.
I feel like it'd be entertaining if we still talk to ourselves.
It'd be great.
I entertain
Be
myself
crazy.
every day. So.
As a saying.
Oh my god! But guys, we check us all out again. And follow us over to the docs and iTunes.
Yeah, there it is.
Everywhere.
Get the rest of this show.
Get the rest of it.
Get the rest
guys.
of this show.
All right. So, one of the things that I feel like spawns all of these fad diets
Talk about it.
are these documentaries that come out.
Mhm.
And so I've seen a whole bunch of them. You've clearly have
Sure,
watched several
sure.
of them.
Super
Dr.
size
Simone
me.
is over there living in a
Like
state of denial.
I don't watch them. I have not seen the Super Size Me. We were like, because we were just
Yeah.
talking on the phone before we got here. She's like, because everybody's seen Super Size Me, and I was like,
Yeah, it's real
I
stuff.
haven't seen these, so
You need to watch
Food
these.
Inc. Yeah.
Food Inc. You need to watch them. And then I saw when I was researching this, the forks over knives, because I was like, oh, that seems cool.
Dope.
You know,
That's very dope.
And so I think that this kind of leads us always into some sort of conversation.
Sure.
And I think that for me, and I try to take everything with a grain of salt because all these documentaries
Literally.
have a bit of a spin on them.
Sure, a bias, definitely.
That's there. You have to realize that when you're watching these, you
Yeah.
can't take this and inhale it and say, "Oh my gosh, this is fact." Because even with What the Health, I was like, "Oh God, I'm scared to death."
of everything.
Of
Like
everything.
you literally want to just drink water, and
Yeah.
you're afraid that
Yeah.
that's even like a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I'm like, okay, but they have an angle, and you're not hearing the other side of the story. Like otherwise, it would be. A 18-hour long. It would need to be a miniseries,
Right.
If we're going to talk about both sides, and then it's going to become science versus science. Because I believe that almost these days people can almost prove or disprove anything.
Very true.
So you have to kind of take everything with a little bit of a grain. And so, like when I saw Super Size Me, I was like, well, yeah, that all makes sense. I mean, you leave French fries out from McDonald's for a week and they don't change.
Exactly. Cheese doesn't melt. You can burn it and it's still
for
there.
the people who haven't seen like Super Size Me.
And when you say the people,
I'm asking for a friend. I'm just asking for a friend. Like, so what was it like about?
That's so funny, man.
I mean, I know you guys really. I don't watch TV like that often, so like I really don't
what
know
are you
about.
doing? I'm
I
not saying
mean,
that you
I'm
should be
so
consumer
lame
TV,
though.
but,
Like, nah, I just be like,
you working
I
now?
work. I work super hard, and then like when I crash, it's like
Yeah, but you don't
after
work-
this
Outta
show,
there.
I'm
You don't
like
work-
out.
You don't work 18 hours.
Nah, but I feel like my brain is always on. So you start your day, right? I'm at the work office. I'm thinking for 10 different people.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like dead. I have a meeting after work, and then so I don't watch TV. It's just not a thing. I didn't grow up with TV though. Again, we were just talking about how people grew up with. So I didn't grow up with the TV in my room. So consequently, I never watched it. So the Super Size Me documentary.
Yeah.
Please tell me about what you guys learned for the educated people, and maybe if I get cool glasses,
Cool glasses.
or
a
cool hat.
Glasses or a hat.
I'll be good.
Get your accessory
right,
game up.
Right.
So basically, Super Size Me, for those that haven't seen it, is about a young man who decided to eat 3 meals a day, choosing from McDonald's, and over the time he gained about 13% in body mass for body mass weight. So, and he also gained about 26 pounds off of this food.
Oh my
And so then he reverted to a
God.
vegan diet to lose that weight back. It took him a little over a year to do that. So it
It took him a year to lose
so
the
basically,
weight,
he was
but
living
he
on this
gained-
food, and that's what happened to his body living on this
Wow.
type of food.
they
And the
give
amount
you
of calories.
cholesterol numbers.
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just
Crazy. Astonishing.
Wow.
But it tells you the state of the food that you're eating when for the quote unquote fast food, right? And these were institutions that were built to serve people in a mass quantity. And of course,
Right.
if you do that, it's all about profit margin.
Right.
It's not about the health of the consumer. So
We're definitely not doing quality when you're going to McDonald's.
Exactly.
you
It's
shouldn't even-
quantity.
Yeah, it's quantity. So then
their
what?
fries are bomb though.
hey.
You think you said that on
Hey.
another show too? Like if I can get a
Hey.
fry in my life, it's like a good day.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
like
good day.
man, between them and
You so funny.
Whataburger fries.
Whataburger
You so
fries,
funny.
that's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I mean, they're vegan.
So then, okay, let's talk a little bit about the new. Oh God, did she just say
The funny
that?
part is
They
that
are.
is true, right?
It's so
It
true.
is true. Technically, she's right.
Like I have to give it to her. So then,
Vegan option.
Like, ding. It's like, damn. She's right.
so what about the health and what's the health? Because I have attempted to watch this movie 4 times. You've seen it,
Yeah,
Gary.
yeah.
And then Ashandra was like throwing it down our throats last.
Well,
week,
Yeah.
so
and I pushed it down all of my team's throats, and
your kids must hate you right now.
well, my children, I'm giving them a little bit of a leeway. One, I don't like fighting toddlers, so that's one thing.
Okay.
Right? And
probably-
two, my daughter is able to make her own kind of decisions, so she's actually been consciously choosing to eat. Like for the past 3 days, she's been vegetarian just by choice because
wow.
I've made some meals in the home that she can consume and eat, and they are vegetarian meals.
Nice.
And so she's made the choice, and I support her, so I'm perfectly fine with it. And I told my children this is about removing it from our everyday life. Like, if you're gonna have every day, all day. So every day, all day, we shouldn't have like bacon for breakfast and then have pizza for lunch and then have, a steak for dinner. Like that's just too much meat.
Too much,
so
right.
maybe if you choose to have that, like yesterday morning, I had a bacon and cheese kolache. Like, yeah, oh my God.
But you have a baby that like ate half of that.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the rest of the day, I did not have any other meat. Right?
Okay.
So I had no other meat and no other animal product for the entire rest of the day.
Okay.
So it was like, oh, I really want this right now. And before I wouldn't even have thought about it. I'd be like, okay, yeah, and then for lunch I'm gonna have chicken, and then for dinner.
So what the health did not make you completely decide like not to take any type of meat whatsoever. And Gary, you were already not doing meat on Saturdays either, but
during the week.
Right. So you're doing a week. So you guys are not completely swayed away from not having meat at all. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'll say this: what the health, pun intended, supersized the conversation a bit, because when I saw
This kid right here.
forks over knives, they correlated protein consumption, certain types of protein consumption, to potential increase of cancer. And so then watching What the Health brought the conversation that much closer to say, hey, people who are consuming meat at these high rates also have a high rate of cancer, whereas you look at other countries on other continents that are not consuming the same amount of meat, they don't have that same level or concentration of these diseases. And we're getting to a lot of them, diabetes and obviously cancer and different types of cancer. So that's what it did for me. It kind of gave me that additional jolt to say, hey, remember, you need to be conscious, not just for today, but 10, 20, 30 years from now, what you're consuming.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, if one of those companies that we're bashing right now decides that they want to do some advertising,
You might
of
change
course,
your narrative.
you might not want to come advertise here at the Sphere. So are you starting your business or looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at the Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States, as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789 or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv.
You were walking
That's
in
what we
your
do.
purpose, boy.
Hey, that's
you
what we do.
Straight walking
We
in
gon-
all of the
we gonna
purpose,
hit that,
right?
huh?
I mean, I just love it. So,
Hey.
so let's talk a little bit about then what was found out about What the Health. So even though I have only gotten through the first 25 minutes of it, they definitely start talking about diabetes. So they're saying 350 people living with diabetes, and 1/3 of Medicare dollars are spent on diabetes. So this is a billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
I mean, diabetes is definitely something that is taking a lot of money out of the community.
Man.
So it's not truly the sugars then, because I thought that diabetes was the sugars, but they were saying that it's actually dealing with the fat, the blood fat and content. So that was kind of crazy.
To me, what happens with What the Health, and that's the reason why it intrigued me from the very beginning, because from the 1.5 minutes in, they start spewing out these numbers, right? So the 350 people living with diabetes, 1/3 of Medicare, 1/10 of insurance dollars, like all of this stuff. I'm like, wait, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And a lot of people that are living with the disease that in most cases can be prevented. And then they counteract it with the theory that it's all sugar based. It's like carb and sugar based that causes diabetes is not actually truly 100% accurate. It's actually that the diet builds up fat in the blood. So the meat that has fats in it builds up in our blood that causes the insulin resistance. So the natural sugars that we're actually eating in real food that are good for us can't get picked up by their insulin receptors because it's being blocked by the fat. And I'm like, oh God, it was just so much information. So I was like, then I just sat and I was actually kind of slack jawed and watching it oh man, I'm gonna die.
So I don't remember learning that type of concept in dental school, which is I thought was crazy because I remember it being sugar blocks those insulin receptors. Then you're, of course, a diabetic because you can't basically absorb that sugar. So that to me was very hard. I had to keep watching that part over because it was just a different train of thought that I've been trained to have, right? And so when even the older people are going to have issues with this because we call it the sugars. So
Exactly.
in the black
Absolutely.
community, that's what we call it.
Well,
So
and I think that's what makes this more of like a conversation about like kind of what you and I know as what we've been taught.
Right.
But then we don't have like a dietitian here.
Right.
We don't have a general practitioner here that can give us and our viewers and our listeners their perspective on the facts, right?
Sure.
And so I just feel like it is a little like, wait, what?
right, when you were talking
How?
about do you take everything at face value, I kept saying like that seems so odd that because we have people that are on the Atkins diet and that are, I guess, healthier, they're consuming meat. I wonder, did they do a correlation of the Atkins diet to diabetes?
That's a good question. And
Sure. But then the guy who started Atkins killed over and died of like a heart attack.
Right.
And so,
Well, that's not diabetes. So now I do agree. I think that it has that issue with cardiac disease.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But diabetes, I was like, that's the part that I had to keep watching that over because I'm like,
Right.
that just doesn't make sense to what I have been taught.
Well,
Yeah.
and this is what I think in the documentary that makes the most sense for me is that it's not necessarily just the meat, it's the types of meat. So
Okay.
like if you're eating lean protein, leaner meats, the fish, things like that don't have those fats in it, but when you bring in processed meat that have so much cholesterol and fat and all of that in it, I think that's probably more of the correlation, but they don't break it down like that in the documentary.
Sure. Right.
They just say meat because you have to realize that these are people who are probably vegans themselves. They're
Right.
actually having the conversation. So they're not going to categorize it into those categories of like, okay, if you're eating very lean meat, then you have a less chance of diabetes. They're just saying meat across the board.
And so
Yeah.
what did you
Don't
guys
eat it.
think about that part when they
Well-
were talking about the diet versus the diabetes? Because then I thought that was cool how they shut down. Like the guy was like, I'm not talking about diet and its correlation to diabetes. Like, I mean, the conversation completely just stopped.
Yeah, it's a different train of thought, and then it hits home for me because my father has diabetes, right?
Okay.
And my father is as I told y'all, every day I saw the barbecue pit lit,
Right.
and that's still the way it is now.
Right.
Like they
Still eats that way.
with
Okay.
my parents barbecue at least 3 to 4 times a week, easily. There's always meat at the house, but my dad is on diabetes. He takes insulin shots, and I would say that thinking about what this documentary has shared, to say that it's that consumption of fat that's blogging arteries. My dad has had a triple bypass, so he's been down this road, and of course he assumed that was just smoking. Well, no, it's your diet. It's the food that you're eating.
Smokes as well.
So he used to back in the day.
Okay.
So he stopped
Okay.
smoking when they had the triple bypass. Stopped
Okay.
smoking, but the meat consumption stayed.
Okay.
So he still hadn't let that go. But if the fat is in the meat, and that is truly what's causing him to have such a style of diabetes where you're having to take insulin shots to try to keep it under control, well, I could understand. Now the sugar's just continuing to flow because it can't be absorbed.
Right.
And here's the thing. It's proteins, it's fats, it's carbohydrates.
It's all of it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
These are your building blocks of food. That's all food is. Carbs, fats, and proteins.
Right.
The question is, how much of each one should you consume? And I think that's a conversation that's been had for so long, but people don't understand that you can get everything you need in a plant-based diet. You don't have to have meat and that's one of the things the documentary said. You don't have to have meat to get protein. I literally switched to vegan-based protein versus casein-based protein.
Well, who was it, that football player, Arian Foster, that went over to
Okay.
a straight vegan or vegetarian diet, and they were making a bigger a big issue about that because as an athlete, I thought that you really did need that strong meat-based protein because you're getting your muscles are doing a lot of breaking down and you need a lot of repair. So I guess that's another thing too.
It's
There's
a myth.
also a diet out there too about your blood type. We talked about that. I
Blood
think.
Yeah, we
type.
did.
Yeah, we
We
talked
talked
about
about
that.
that.
too.
But there are certain
Yeah.
cultures that they say that you actually need meat. So that's where I
Yeah.
found like this contradiction. I couldn't
It's-
figure it
it's
out.
heavy.
It's very, very heavy. And so, like, at the end of the documentary, they actually talk to an NFL lineman, like American Ninja Warrior champion, and they're vegans.
Okay.
And the guy who's a NFL lineman was talking about how quickly his body is able to be repaired now, how much
Yep.
stronger he is now because he's now 100% vegan. And like he was hypertensive. He was like, I'm a professional athlete and I'm hypertensive
Yep.
because I was eating so bad.
Wow.
And I can coincide. Hey, I'm on that same boat simply because I now can lift harder in the gym and I recover
Yeah.
faster because of my diet, because I took the meat out, because I'm still getting my protein in via my vegan-based protein, via broccoli, other protein sources, but my body is responding faster, better, harder, simply because I said, you know what, I can move away from meat products, still get what I need, and still stay strong, if not stronger.
Well, and then the other thing that a doctor says on the show, he's the actually only African American guy on the show that's talking. He's a
That
doctor.
dude's funny too.
He's very funny.
I
That
saw
dude's
him in
funny.
like the least first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
yeah,
funny.
he's funny. And so he says somebody, I can't remember what the question
But
was.
he was overweight. I'm sorry.
He
like
he is
anybody
overweight.
else?
But don't hit it with the butt, right? Because that takes
was
away from his
like,
content.
I'm
But I hear
sorry.
you.
I was like,
hear
I'm
you.
so lost. Like you're talking about this, and
You're
I
right.
know you have some sort
And
of
but
like.
that comes back to the mental aspect
Okay.
because
Right.
eating can become that mental disorder. So it's
it's
like
the only addiction you have to
yeah,
have. Like,
yeah.
the food you can be addicted to something, but you actually need to
That
eat
you
it.
need
yeah.
it.
Like,
so
yeah,
it's,
you need
that's,
it.
it's
Yeah.
different.
So one of the things he says about protein, which is a very big misconception, is that you can only get it from, or the best places to get it is from animal products. And he said, actually, protein that you're getting from animal products is reconstituted plant protein that the
Yeah.
animals are eating and digesting down, and it's going into their meat.
Yeah, animals eat the plants. We eat the animals to get the protein, but they got it from the plants. So
Right.
we could skip the middleman and
just
go
get
straight
it
to the
from the
source.
plants. Yeah,
But you know,
yeah.
he was
That's
eating
the plug
cheeseburger.
right there.
Like,
Right.
he's
You're
eating
working
a
with the
cheeseburger.
connect, but you can go to the
But
plug.
he's
Go
eating
to
a-
the
I'm just
plug.
saying. Oh
Go
my
to the
God.
plug.
Saying.
Yeah. And if you ever choose to go anywhere, you can go to Three Hues, which is one of the places that sponsors this portion of the show, where you can come, paint, sip, and party at Three Hues
with vegetables.
with vegetables. Join a party, or book your own private event for kids or adults. Let Three Hues help you create your masterpiece on canvas step by step. A painting party is perfect for any occasion. A church function, wedding showers, team building, Girl Scouts earning their badge, date night, birthdays, or anytime you just want to have fun. Ask them about their summer camp programs, kids club, special events, and wine glass painting events. Did we mention that Three Hues is mobile too? Yes, you can go to the studio or they can come to you. Visit their website today, 3hueshouston.com.
There it is. 3 Hues. Get your paint on.
Right, get your paint on. I love to paint. Unfortunately, I just ain't got time. Like I'm too busy. I'm too busy teaching my son how to write his own letters.
Or watching
Never mind.
documentaries on
Right.
how to
Or
be-
watching documentaries on how to be better.
Making
that
vegan
makes sense.
meals.
Yeah, making vegan meals.
I had
So
a vegan enchilada yesterday.
Was it
that
good?
The other day that was banging.
Was
I just
bomb?
can't believe that. I
Yeah,
just
it
in
was
my I
awesome.
just don't believe
No.
it. A
Yeah.
vegan enchilada?
Yeah, vegan
no, for real.
enchilada.
There's some
It
things
was
out there
awesome.
like I now can go to Chipotle and have a completely vegan meal, and it's the best meal that I can have at Chipotle.
I just, you know what, and I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm probably on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely something that I have got to get used to because I cannot imagine my life without meat.
Well, and I
just
didn't,
couldn't.
and like I said, I have not chosen to remove it, and I won't even go down to 1 day a week. Like, not yet. I'm not at that place yet. However, I'm just not having it every day.
Yeah.
And if I have it in breakfast, or I have it at lunch, or I have it, I'm done for the day. Like, I'm not like gonna have, I used to just not even think about it, And I mean, the documentary, he goes and he talks to like the American Diabetes Association.
You know,
And he
we're-
talks. I know, yeah. You see where my head is. And he talks to some doctors and people that run these associations, and he comes to find out that he gets a lot of resistance when he talks about their diet recommendations, what they're telling their sick patients to eat, and then the doctor, the African American doctor, kind of brings up like this kind of conspiracy theory of the government tells us what to eat, those pyramids.
Yeah.
And it has like, whatever's at the bottom, and then, and they change it every few years, and it always has dairy and meat on there.
Yep.
And he's like, so the government is telling us to eat meat and dairy, but it keeps us sick so that the government continues to make
let's
money.
be very clear. Like, the government is not stupid
Hey.
about
About
making
this.
these coins. Like, they
About
are
this.
all about
For
profit.
profit.
I mean,
Absolutely.
You think about even like the HIV and AIDS. People have speculated for years that the solutions are already being made. I mean,
That
come
are-
on, we're
that are
such an
there.
advanced country. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way that we probably
Advanced
haven't-
world, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
We're not that far behind. But yet, and still, it is a big business for you to stay sick, and that's
Indeed.
what I thought was really neat. That first line is like, we're teaching people how to be sick. Like, we are, and
Yes.
it's acceptable because we make money off of
Yes.
it. And Bayer,
profit margin.
all these number one
Yes.
corporations with pharmaceuticals, it costs them maybe pennies to make their medications, but they sell it at a profit margin because they know that you need to have it. Like,
Yep.
Yes.
unless you want to die, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no money to be made in people being
And preventative.
healthy.
No,
And
absolutely
preventative.
Keep it a
not.
buck. Like, there's
Yeah.
no money to be made.
No.
in
Right,
people being
no.
healthy.
right. Well, and I mean, realistically, we would be broke if patients were did
Oh
what
my
they were supposed to
God.
do. Like,
If
we
you
would not be
actually
dentists.
Did what you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, we would definitely be broke.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
Absolutely.
things you can avoid, but our offices would be very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things they talk about is that the pharmaceutical companies, there's out of the 100% of medicines that they make, 80% is actually given to livestock.
Wow.
That's
20% is bought by the population.
Crazy.
80% of their resources come from livestock.
Wow.
Cows, pigs, chickens, all that. That's what we're consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we turn around and we eat because they got to keep their animals healthy. Period, point blank. Like, it's a big business.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have your animals dying on you. So the farmers and the owners of these livestock have to keep their animals healthy. So they're feeding them things that keep them healthy. And then we turn around and we eat it.
Yeah.
Well, what they're saying is that we're going to hit a crisis very soon where somebody's going to come to you or me, get a tooth removed, and they're going to get a deathly infection because their bodies, they're eating all this meat and animal product that have antibiotics in them.
Right.
And then they're not going to be
Becoming
able
resistant.
to resist an infection.
I think it's so crazy how we've become a culture of like, I need to have an antibiotic. I have to have an antibiotic. When people come to my office and they're like, well, you didn't give me an antibiotic. I'm like, I don't want you to have to be on an antibiotic unless you need to be on it. If you're not getting rid of the source of infection, which I think that's what they're talking about here, getting rid of the sources of infection, that makes more sense, right? You can treat something. So let's talk about the cardiac disease, because I think that we spent some time on diabetes, but they were also segueing it into cardiac disease with that.
So you got 17 million people that die of cardiac disease.
Was that the plane innuendo that they had? Like you had
something
4
like that.
planes crashing
Every day.
hour,
Every hour.
Every hour.
And now that was like a horrible visual.
Yes.
Like, wow,
Yes.
that is crazy.
Make it
And
plain,
later
Pastor.
on later on in it, another guy talks about how 3,000 people die a year off of something. Remember that? And he was like, that's like the equivalent of a World Trade Center happening every
Oh, yeah.
year.
Yeah, I remember
but then
that.
he doubles down on it, and he says something about it pretty much triples it. And I can't remember what it is at the moment, but he triples it, and he's like, it's the government that's doing this. But if another government was doing this to Americans, we would be in war.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's happening to us and we're not even able to control it. Oh, he's talking about the fact that if you try to get information about how these pigs and animals and stuff, what's in them, they'll send you something, but it's all blacked out.
Oh wow.
Redacted. Yeah.
And they call it a business. They have to protect their business practices.
So one of the things that I thought they were talking about also too was the injection of saline into these animals, right?
Yes.
So when I was on my competition diet, that was one of the big things that we had to do was we couldn't put a lot of sodium into your food because of course it retains water. And so as you're trying to shred out that water, you don't want to absorb it. And so I did a study myself, or a little project, for instance, where I bought chicken from Walmart.
Okay.
And then I bought chicken from HEB. I didn't season it at all. My Walmart chicken, you would have thought I put all kinds of salt on that because it was flavorful. It was good. But my chicken from like Tyson had the blandest taste. And I thought, wow, like that is so true. Like it is really injected on even just, I mean, that wasn't like fried chicken. I didn't go to Popeyes or KFC.
Yeah.
I was getting some what I thought to be natural based chicken. I cooked it, and even cooking it looked different. Like it was all juicy and plump and tender from my Walmart chicken, and my Tyson chicken was a little bit drier. It had no taste, and I thought, wow. When I saw that, I'm like, that is so true because I have definitely seen it firsthand.
And
Even where you go buy your produce or your meats is important because
It is.
Walmart is big business too.
Sure.
And they make money off of having a lot. So I just thought that was a really interesting
Well,
thing.
and I think that the other piece about it is when in the documentary they were like, well, what about chicken and poultry? Like, what about chicken and turkey? And he was like, well, would you rather get stabbed or shot?
or shot or hung.
Shot or hung. And I was like, well,
Yeah, it made you feel some type of way.
yeah.
We're taught that, right? We're taught to eat chicken or eat turkey.
Yeah.
Because this is leaner or this is healthier.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, you're still in that same situation. They're still pumping them via all those
Antibiotics.
pharmaceuticals or antibiotics, different things to modify these animals so that they can sell them at the mass quantities that they need to sell them at, which in turn you now ingest.
This
So
is
now-
where I broke down. Like,
Yeah,
I just
your body was like, no more. I'm
like
done.
no more.
No
like
more.
you
Sleep.
robbed me. Okay, maybe. And I just felt like I
there it is.
I just
Sleep.
fell
She's
out.
She's out.
So heartbreaking.
It happens.
It is. I'm
crazy.
telling you. Like, I was literally like, okay. And then I was like, well, I love fish. My husband doesn't like it unless it's fried. But I was like, I can eat fish. And they're like, nope, because the big fish eats the smaller fish that eats, so it's like this accumulation of like the toxins that are in our water. So it's like the bigger the fish, the more toxic they are,
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, well, hell.
Well, and that was another study that we did in college that I thought was really cool about fish ponds. And so they were doing all the hormones that we excrete from our body, like if we're on a lot of birth control and things like that, they're basically excreted into the water system.
Yeah.
And these fish were basically becoming a product of this. So like now you got these girls that look all voluptuous, but they're having so much estrogen put in. But they also correlated it, I thought, really interesting to homosexuality, which I am not going to even start on, but they were just saying that they wondered if that had to be some sort of seeing that homosexuality was increasing.
Wow.
Estrogen
with
increases.
the estrogen
That's
in the water.
interesting.
And the reason why they
Makes-
tied it into was the fish were trying to mate now with each other as opposed to trying to mate with the female.
opposite, right,
It was
opposite
so,
sex.
So they were
And
were
that's
feminizing.
interesting
Yeah.
because in What the Health they talk about milk
Yep.
being a natural hormonal fluid that cows make.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. It is a hormonal fluid. It is full of hormones because that's what it's for. It's for their children. It's
The
for their
calves.
children.
Yep.
It ain't for our children. It's for
Exactly.
their children to produce, to give them their nutrients that they need. Well, then we're turning around and drinking just an absorbent amount, and it has like 10 times the amount of casein in it than our milk, than human milk. So cow's milk has 10 times more casein, which is addictive, than human milk.
Yeah, and it's bad overall. I mean, who in their right mind, and now looking at it as an adult, someone who grew up on Frosted Flakes, Cheerios, Honey
I
Nut,
love whole
I mean,
milk.
all the things.
whole
I was
milk.
on whole milk heavy. I was on the 2%. I didn't try the skim. I used to be a milk fiend,
I
I
can't
tell
do
you.
those
But
2%ers.
now I'm like, the logic is there. Milk was made for calves to get stronger and grow into cows. It was never made for, and women produce milk for their babies to grow up. That's it. As an adult, why are you drinking milk? Especially, why are you drinking
Because
another
it does the
animal?
body good.
But why are you drinking another animal's milk? What other
I need
animal in this
calcium.
world
No,
drinks
you
another
don't.
anim's, mammals or not, drinks someone
don't.
else's
You guys
milk?
are blowing my mind.
Nobody
I love
else.
me some milk.
Nobody
No.
else does that. But humans, we have
Wow.
been taught to do something that we don't need to do.
Wow.
Drinking milk from
And
other
it's
animals.
such a big dollar business. I
It
mean,
is.
how much the milk
Like you-
smile? Like,
exactly.
come on, like how
They-
much did you grow up on
We've been
that?
brainwashed for
They
that.
talk about how
It's
all
heavy.
these ads, like just like back in our day when cigarette ads were geared towards us. There
Yes.
were cartoons and the camel and all that.
No, that's in back
and
in
how
your day. When I came through, it was Dare to keep a kid off drugs.
Saying we had that? I still
too.
got a T-shirt. Hold on. Watch me.
we
I
had that
still
too.
got a
Wait a
T-shirt.
minute.
I'm trying to
She
get
tried it.
Yes,
She
you tried it.
tried
You
it.
tried it.
I'm a young Tinder.
You tried it.
She hit us. She hit us with
You
that.
tried it.
I was
Okay.
like, when I was coming up, they were trying to keep people off of drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
and Dare had nothing to do with cigarettes. They were talking about
all.
crack.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the same
It
time,
was about crack.
yeah, it
about
was.
crack.
And while at the same time, they were just fingerprinting all of us.
Right.
Let's keep it a buck,
they
though.
were.
Let's keep
And
it
they
a
were
buck,
actually
though. Putting us in the system.
feeding crack into our
Come on,
into
talk
our
about it.
communities.
Nixon. Hey, Nixon.
Okay.
That whole
That's,
administration.
Oh my
that's
God.
what they were doing.
I mean,
Meanwhile,
Like they were fingerprinting us. You could go to any school
Yes.
and like get the
Yep.
fingerprints.
Yes.
And,
And we thought it was
Yes.
cool.
Well, you thought it was
Yes.
cool because it was trying to keep your kids
Yeah,
off. Like, if
but
your
nah,
kid
they were
get
just
locked,
putting us
they
in
were
the
just putting us
system.
in the
yeah,
system.
duh.
Girl, bye.
Yeah.
So see, we can actually talk about this all day, and I would love to continue this conversation. And what I really think we should do, honestly, is I think we should bring in a nutritionist or somebody who maybe has a different perspective on
Yeah,
this, because we are all just people who like to eat. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
across the board, all of us like to eat. We
Yeah.
like to drink.
I'm
we like
probably
to have
more
fun.
than all of you guys.
And realistically, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep this up because my family is not on my, well, especially my husband just doesn't like,
He's not on board.
No.
But he hasn't been taught to be on board. Like, I mean,
He
culturally,
hasn't,
like, that's
and
not
he's
his thing.
never liked vegetables. Like he's never like.
That's
and,
how I grew up.
And my son, I promise you, like if it's not chicken or pizza, he's not for it.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm conflicted. So we'll see how far this goes. But I do think getting like just kind of a scientific. This is what I see. This is what my patients are dealing with. and kind of, because it's conspiracy theories and we believe in all of them, and we
Right.
believe in the government being up to no good. However, how do we kind of eat well and be healthy, and kind of pick and choose our poison, right? Like,
Because we're gonna die.
we are all gonna die.
Let's make it plain.
When
Yeah.
we're gonna all die, but what are we gonna die of?
Exactly.
And
That's important.
yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
glad we had this conversation
Me
today
too.
because that's healthy. And there are a lot of people out here that are watching us right now that, one, didn't know what the health even existed, but
No.
two, you all, those that are watching us right now, those that are listening to us in your cars, you're stuck in traffic right now, you now have a firm understanding of how important your diet really is. Please take heed to that. Whatever principles or philosophies, please pay attention to your diet. It's important. Why y'all laughing at me?
It is
it's
important.
like it's
She's
resonating with me.
just having a moment, and I'm looking at her. And honestly, the other piece for me, which hit home for me, is I am hypertensive. People don't believe me when I say that. They look at me and they say, "How are you hypertensive?" And I say, "Well, I've always blamed it on genetics." I say, "Well, my grandfather's had it. My dad has it." And I'm like, you know what? Let's see while I'm pregnant if I can decrease my diastolic to a number that's a little bit lower, because my diastolic is one that's my problem.
Okay.
And in the last week, I've gotten it. So it was hovering around 85, like guaranteed 125 over 85. Now it's hovering at 120 over 80
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
in a
Congratulations.
week.
In a week.
So I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying anything that is my food. I'm just saying that if I'm going to do this and I have a reason to do it, I'm carrying a life, and me and my doctor need to be on the same page on when I have this baby. And if my body is not
Do you
doing
have
what
it
I needed to
timed?
do.
You probably have it scheduled.
Yeah, I need it on 11/21.
There it is.
I need her to come on
Precise.
11/21.
At
Precise.
11 o'clock.
Yeah,
because
no,
I have an
preferably
appointment
at like
probably
7 in the morning. Like, that's my preference. I need to be the first patient on the table and get this. Yeah.
This life
So,
out of you.
so if that actually happens, then y'all will know that it's been because my blood pressure is what will
That's
be able to get me
awesome.
through it. And so I say all that to say that I have another reason right now. And that I do think that all of us have a reason in our close-knit families, our loved ones, somebody that we sleep with every night, potentially, that could be a reason for us to change our diet.
I mean, I personally, I have endometriosis, so I should have been on it, but it's like really
With
crazy.
your whole
like,
milk.
like for real. Like, I should have been on it. And I think that what's hard for me is that people eat as a stressful eater, right? So when I'm,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
if traveling too, that's a problem. So when I'm out of town, if I'm not prepping on Sunday, that whole week goes by before I get to the grocery store. So you guys definitely,
French
for me,
fries.
this has definitely helped. Right. French fries or the carb. But you guys have helped me even kind of like take it to another level. So we hope that, guys, you are taking this information in. Please check us out again on Docs. You can follow us on Instagram, social media, and then also, of course, following me on my social media pages, Dr. Simone Ellis, at Dr. Simone Ellis on Instagram and Simone Ellis on Facebook. Please check us out. And, of course, you need any dental needs because you are trifling like me and continue to, like, eat whatever you want to, right? You can follow me at my office at Smile Design Studios. It has been a pleasure. I'm going to hand it over to Gary. Thank you for just impromptu coming in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
It, you know?
And for those that are watching, you can follow me anywhere online: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I'm at a few other places. We won't name those right now. At G Hawkins. That's G Hawkins with a Z. And of course, if you got some tech needs, check me out over on Technocrats here at thesphere.tv/Technocrats. And of course, Startup Masters. We definitely each and every week are talking about entrepreneurship. And then that boom bap, where we're talking about the hip hop. So we try to keep it right and keep it tight over here.
About that, I was like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like, it's
we go
amazing.
pretty hard.
Yeah,
we go pretty hard.
I love it.
And of course, you, Madame, where can people find you at?
Well, you can always find me here on the Sphere,
Yeah,
the Docs.
that's
That's
what's up.
one place. If you need a dentist or if you just want a dentist, I am Dr. Chandra Batiste. You can find me at Elite Dental Wellness, my office, where we are typically very busy, and my lips never look like this while I'm at work, so don't expect it. However, you can also find me on Instagram at hotdoc.com and Twitter, Facebook, all those other places at just Chandra Batiste. So we appreciate you guys watching and joining and sharing and giving us constructive feedback. We will see you guys. You'll see us next week. Thank you.
Peace.
Gotta take us off.